Can you believe the sheer audacity? My own father, standing there, red-faced and raging, because I dared to question why I was still bankrolling their lavish lifestyle while he'd secretly set up my sister with $250,000. What the hell happened next? Oh, you're about to find out. My name is Louise, and I'm 33. I built my life from scratch, pouring countless sleepless nights into becoming a successful day trader. I wasn't born into money. I earned every penny. For 5 years, I'd quietly covered their vacation home property taxes, Megan's car payments, and even family vacations. It was my way of giving back. Or so I thought. How could you be so selfish? My father roared, pacing across the living room of their vacation home, a home I was paying the taxes on. His face was a mask of anger. Your sister needs that money for her new business venture. You have more than enough. I stood there, stunned. My hands still clutched the property tax bill he'd ambushed me with. What was supposed to be a casual Sunday dinner had become an inquisition into why I wasn't pulling my weight. Dad, I finally managed, my voice steadier than I felt. I've been paying for everything for years. The property taxes, Megan's business trips, Mom's medical bills not covered by insurance. I never asked for anything in return, but I can't keep doing this. My mother sat silently on the couch, eyes fixed on her hands. She wouldn't look at me. That hurt more than Dad's shouting. We gave you everything growing up, he thundered, completely ignoring my words. And now that we need you, you're abandoning us, while your sister is trying to make something of herself. That's when I saw it. An envelope, partially hidden under a magazine on the coffee table. The words Trust Fund and Megan Walsh screamed at me. My stomach dropped. I snatched it before my father could stop me. Louise. That's private, he snapped. Too late. My hands trembled as I scanned the document. The truth hit me like a physical blow. A substantial trust fund. For Megan. Only Megan. The same father who'd told me for years there wasn't enough for my college tuition, forcing me to work multiple jobs. The same father who now expected me to bankroll their luxury while secretly setting my sister up for life. When were you going to tell me about this? I whispered. A cold clarity washed over me. My whole life suddenly made sense. The favoritism, the different expectations, the constant demands disguised as family obligation. I knew then. Everything was about to change. Dad snatched the document back, but the damage was done. The number was seared into my memory, $350,000 for Megan, with more to come. All while I'd been told family finances were tight. You weren't supposed to see that, he muttered. Clearly, I replied, my voice hollow. I guess that explains why you never helped with my student loans. The pattern had always been there. Megan got dance lessons. I focused on academics. She got a car for her 16th birthday. I took the bus. College? Megan went private, family funded. I pieced together scholarships and worked 30 hours a week. I'd always blamed changing circumstances. I never wanted to believe what was now undeniable. They simply valued Megan more. Sweetheart, my mother finally spoke, her voice gentle in that manipulative way I now recognized. Your sister needs more help than you do. You've always been so independent, so capable. We're proud of how well you've done on your own. The twisted logic took my breath away. I was punished for my success, rewarded for dependence. All those times I asked for help, I said slowly, memories flooding back. When I was working 2 jobs, barely sleeping. When my car broke down and I couldn't afford repairs. When I needed a security deposit. You said you couldn't help. But the money was there. It was just earmarked for Megan. Dad shifted uncomfortably. Investment decisions aren't that simple, Louise. We had to think about the future. Just not my future, I finished. I thought about all the payments I'd made. The property taxes on this house alone, $8,700 annually for 5 years. Plus $12,000 for roof repairs. All while they secretly built Megan's nest egg. The taxes are due next month, Dad said, sliding the bill across the table. And the HOA increased their fees. I stared at him, incredulous. After everything I just discovered, he still expected me to pay. The audacity. It was breathtaking. Something inside me snapped. A fundamental recalibration. I'd been played for a fool. But that ended today. I'll take care of it, I said quietly, picking up the bill. My father visibly relaxed, completely missing the steel in my eyes. The drive back to my apartment was a blur. Snow-capped mountains usually brought me peace, but now they loomed, accusingly. I'd been such a fool. At home, I ignored my ringing phone, undoubtedly Dad, checking on the tax bill. I pulled out my laptop. With trembling fingers, I opened a folder I'd meticulously maintained for years. Financial contributions, family. The spreadsheet that appeared represented thousands. 5 years of property taxes, $43,500. Megan's car payments, $17,682. Mom's medical expenses, $8,200. Family vacations, $22,450. The total made me physically ill, $113,810. All while my parents secretly funneled money into a trust for my sister. I scrolled through digital copies of checks, transfer receipts, texts thanking me for my generosity. Each one now felt like evidence of my own naivety. My phone pinged. A text from Megan. Dad says you're being difficult about the taxes. Don't be selfish, Louise. I laughed bitterly. Of course, she would take their side. She was the beneficiary. Another text from Dad. We're counting on you for those taxes. Don't let us down. No thank you. Just expectation. The next morning, I called in sick. I drove to see Joseph, my financial advisor. This is quite a list, Joseph said, reviewing my spreadsheet. His eyes widened at the total. And you've never asked for repayment? They're family, I said simply. I wanted to help. Joseph removed his glasses. Louise, your generosity is admirable, but this is unsustainable. You're hindering your own financial future while enabling dependence. This isn't healthy for any of you. I know that now, I said quietly. I just discovered they've created a substantial trust fund for my sister while letting me shoulder all these expenses. Joseph's expression darkened. That changes things. For the next 2 hours, we developed a plan. I needed documentation, notarized statements, receipts, a complete accounting. Joseph recommended a forensic accountant. Are you sure you want to go down this road? Joseph asked. Family conflicts over money get ugly fast. I thought about the trust fund. Years of being told there wasn't enough for me. The property tax bill Dad had pushed across the table. I'm sure, I said, my voice stronger than it had been in days. It's time they understood exactly what I've been contributing all these years. And what happens when that contribution stops? As I left his office, I felt something I hadn't in years when it came to my family: power. 1 week later, I sat in Victor Hernandez's office, surrounded by stacks of papers. The forensic accountant had organized 5 years of my contributions. Your documentation is impressively thorough, Victor noted. Most people don't keep records this detailed. My day trading background had instilled good habits. So, what's the total damage? I asked. Victor slid a document across his desk. The final tally was worse than I thought: $118,745. The additional $4,935 comes from interest you've lost by diverting these funds from your own investments, he explained. I nodded, feeling a strange mix of vindication and grief. The numbers made the betrayal concrete. Undeniable. What now? I asked. That depends on what you want, Victor replied. If you're seeking legal restitution, we could build a case. If you're simply documenting this for your own closure or as leverage, we can prepare a comprehensive financial statement. The second option, I said. For now. As Victor prepared the documents, my phone buzzed with texts. Dad. Haven't received the tax payment yet. Due date approaching. Megan. Dad says you're being difficult about money after all they've done for you, really, Louise? I silenced my phone. Let them wonder. 3 days later, I received the notarized financial statement from Victor's office. Every cent, categorized by recipient, purpose, and date. It included the lost investment opportunity and Joseph's verification. That evening, my mother called. "Louise? Your father is concerned about the property tax payment," she began, her voice carefully modulated. "The due date is next week." "I know when it's due, Mom." "Well, will you be handling it? You've always been so reliable about these things." The casual assumption in her voice ignited something in me. 5 years of payments, not a single thank you. 5 years of giving while they secretly built my sister's nest egg. Not this time. "I'm not paying the property taxes anymore," I said quietly. "Or any other family expenses." A long pause. But we're counting on you. The money is already allocated elsewhere." Her voice had a frantic edge. "To Megan's trust fund, you mean?" The words hung in the air. Another long silence. "Your father told me you saw that, Louise. You have to understand." "I understand perfectly, Mom. I understand that I've contributed nearly $120,000 to this family over the past 5 years while you and Dad have been telling me there wasn't enough money to help with my education or housing. I understand that I've been financing your lifestyle while you've been securing Megan's future." "That's not fair," she protested weakly. "No, it's not," I agreed. "And I'm done with it." I ended the call and turned my phone off. I knew the real storm was coming. My father wouldn't take this lying down. He'd always seen my financial support as an obligation, not generosity. The next morning, I opened my laptop and made 3 significant changes. First, I canceled the automatic payment for Megan's car. Second, I removed myself as an authorized payer on all family accounts. Third, I transferred $120,000 from my brokerage account to a new, separate investment fund labeled My Future. For the first time in years, I felt unburdened. The weight of constant family financial expectations lifted. The fallout was swift and explosive. By noon, my phone was bombarded. I finally turned it back on during lunch, watching notifications flood my screen with a strange detachment. Megan called 7 times before sending a series of frantic texts. "What the hell, Louise? The bank says my car payment was declined. Are you trying to ruin my credit score? I have plans this weekend. Dad is furious. Fix this now." My father's messages were more direct. "Call me immediately. This is unacceptable behavior. You can't just abandon your responsibilities to this family." I ignored them all, focusing on my trading day. Only after closing my positions did I listen to the single voicemail my mother had left. "Louise, please," her voice trembled. "Your father is beside himself. The property tax notice came with a late fee warning. Megan can't make her car payment. She'll lose her vehicle. We don't understand why you're doing this. Whatever's upset you, we can talk about it. Please call us back." No recognition of the trust fund. No acknowledgement of my years of financial support. Just pressure to resume the status quo. I was composing a measured response when my intercom buzzed. "Miss Walsh, your father is here demanding to see you. He's quite insistent." My stomach tightened. "Tell him I'm not available. He's saying he won't leave until you come down." I sighed. "Then call the police if he refuses to leave." "Very well, ma'am." 20 minutes later, a text from an unknown number. "My cousin Thomas. Just saw Uncle Greg being escorted from your building by security. What's going on? Are you okay?" I hadn't spoken to Thomas in months. I texted back, "I'm fine. Family financial disagreement." His response surprised me. "About time you stood up to them. The way they've treated you versus Megan has been wrong for years." I stared at my phone. I'd always assumed no one else noticed the disparity. The validation from Thomas was unexpected and deeply affirming. My doorbell rang at 7 p.m. I checked the peephole. Megan. Arms crossed, foot tapping. I opened the door, but blocked the entrance. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" she repeated, incredulously. "I want you to explain why you're suddenly acting like a psycho." My car payment bounced. "Dad says you're refusing to pay the taxes on the lake house." "Correct," I said calmly. "Why? What's your problem?" "The problem, Megan, is that I've contributed almost $120,000 to this family over the last 5 years, while Dad has been secretly funding a trust for you." Megan's expression flickered. Surprise, then guilt, then defensive anger. That's different, she insisted. The trust is for my future. I need that security. And I don't. You've always been the smart one, she said, as if that explained everything. You've got your fancy trading career. I'm still trying to find my path at 31. Megan, while I pay your car payments and fund family vacations. She flushed. You've never complained before, because I didn't know I was being manipulated. I didn't know that while I was draining my accounts to help the family, Dad was funneling money into your trust fund. It's not that much money, she mumbled. $350,000 is a significant amount. Her eyes widened. How do you know the exact? I saw the document. A beat of silence. Then, remarkably, Megan tried a different tack. Her expression softened. She reached for my arm. Look, Louise, I understand you're upset, but we're family. We need your help. Dad says without the tax payment, they might lose the lake house. I stepped back, breaking her contact. That's not my problem anymore. You'd let them lose the vacation home where we spent our summers? How can you be so cold? I looked at my sister, really looked at her, and saw the entitlement cultivated her entire life. She genuinely couldn't comprehend why I would stop financially supporting the family. They have options, I said. They could use some of your trust fund. Megan's face hardened. That's not fair. I smiled sadly. No, Megan. Nothing about this has been fair. I closed the door, gently but firmly, in her face. 2 weeks passed. The property tax deadline came and went. I maintained radio silence. My new financial plan was thriving. I could significantly increase my retirement contributions, even consider buying my own small vacation property. My newfound peace was shattered when an email arrived from Uncle Pete, my father's brother. Louise, what's going on with Greg and the lake house? He's asking me for a $10,000 loan to cover property taxes and penalties. Said something about you refusing to help the family anymore. This doesn't sound like you. I stared at the screen, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. My father was approaching other family members rather than touching Megan's sacred trust fund. I carefully composed a reply, attaching a PDF summary of my financial contributions and a brief explanation of the trust fund. Uncle Pete's response came within an hour. Holy hell, Louise. I had no idea. No one did. Greg's been telling everyone how he's struggling to help both his daughters equally. This changes things. The next day, Thomas called. Louise, there's something you should know, he said, his voice urgent. There's a family meeting happening at your parents' house this weekend. Uncle Greg called it to discuss your abandonment of the family. He's trying to rally everyone against you. My stomach tightened. Thanks for telling me. There's more, Thomas continued. I overheard my dad talking to your father. Apparently, they're planning to guilt you into not just resuming payments, but covering all the late fees and penalties too. They're framing it as you deliberately damaging the family legacy. The audacity was breathtaking. Are you going to this meeting? I asked. Yes. And so are you, Thomas said firmly. You need to set the record straight. I'll back you up. I agreed, though anxiety twisted in my gut. Confronting my father with the extended family present would be challenging, but necessary. When Saturday arrived, I dressed carefully in a professional black pantsuit. It always gave me confidence during tough negotiations. I drove to my parents' house with the complete financial documentation from Victor, including the notarized statements and calculations of lost investment opportunity. The living room fell silent when I walked in. My father stood by the fireplace, clearly in mid-speech. Aunts, uncles, cousins sat around, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern. Megan sat beside our mother, both looking uncomfortable. Louise, my father recovered quickly. I'm glad you decided to join us. We were just discussing the family vacation home situation. I'm sure you were, I replied evenly, setting my briefcase on the coffee table. And I'm sure you provided everyone with all the relevant financial information. His eyes narrowed. We're discussing your refusal to meet family obligations. Interesting. I opened my briefcase. Because I have 5 years of financial records showing over $118,000 in family obligations I've already met. Money that apparently wasn't available to help with my education or housing, but was somehow available for Megan's trust fund. A ripple of murmurs spread. My Aunt Catherine, always direct, spoke up. What trust fund? I looked at my father, giving him the opportunity to answer. When he remained silent, I passed copies of the summary document to everyone. For the past 5 years, I've paid the property taxes on the lake house, covered Megan's car payments, funded family vacations, and more, totaling nearly $120,000. During the same period, my parents established a $350,000 trust fund exclusively for my sister. The room erupted. My father's face flushed deep red. "These are private family matters," he thundered. "Exactly," Uncle Pete interjected, standing up. "Family matters. And in this family, we should treat our children equally." I hadn't expected this level of support. As the room divided into heated discussions, my father's gaze locked with mine. In his eyes, I saw something I'd never witnessed before. Fear. The fear of exposure, of his carefully constructed narrative crumbling. And behind that fear, something even more unexpected. Respect. The family meeting ended with my father storming out and my mother tearfully following him. Megan sat frozen, avoiding eye contact. The rest of the family lingered, processing the revelations. "I had no idea it was this bad," Aunt Catherine said, studying the documentation. "Greg always portrayed you as the successful one who didn't need help." Uncle Pete shook his head. "This isn't right. The lake house has been part of our extended family memories for years. If you've been paying those taxes, this time you should have some ownership stake." I hadn't considered this. The property was solely in my parents' names despite my investment. "I don't want the house," I explained. "I just want them to recognize the unfairness." Thomas placed a hand on my shoulder. "Recognition isn't enough, Louise. There should be consequences." 3 days after the meeting, my phone lit up with a text from my father. No apology, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Just 4 terse words. "The property taxes are due." I stared, incredulous. After everything revealed, he was still treating me like his personal A-team. That evening, an unexpected call from my mother. "Louise," her voice was hesitant. "Your father isn't handling this well. The lake house means everything to him." "More than treating his daughters equally?" I asked. Her silence was telling. "Mom, I've contributed nearly $120,000 to this family. Dad created a $350,000 trust fund for Megan without ever offering me similar support. The disparity is glaring." "I know," she admitted quietly. "I've always known it wasn't right, but your father makes the financial decisions." "I understand." I finished for her. "But this is where it stops." The next morning, I texted my father back. With a single attachment, a photograph of the complete notarized financial record of my contributions over the past 5 years, with the total circled in red. No accompanying message was necessary. The documentation spoke for itself. An hour after sending the photo, my phone rang. I expected Dad's angry voice, but instead heard Megan's. "Louise," she sounded shaken. "Dad just showed me all the documentation you sent. Is it really that much? Over $118,000? "Yes, it is," I confirmed. "Every penny documented and verified by a forensic accountant." A long pause. "I had no idea," she said finally. "Dad always told me you were helping a little here and there because you had extra money. He never said you were covering major expenses while he was building my trust fund." Her voice cracked. For the first time, I heard genuine remorse. "Louise, I don't know what to say. I feel terrible." "It's not entirely your fault," I conceded. "Dad created the situation." "But I benefited from it," she said. "And I never questioned it. I just assumed I deserved the help." Another long pause. Then Megan surprised me. "I'm going to fix this," she declared. "It's not right." Before I could ask what she meant, she hung up. The next day, I received formal documentation from my father's attorney. The property taxes on the lake house had been paid in full. Along with a legally binding amendment to the ownership, I now owned a 25% stake in the property. Attached was a note explaining that Megan had insisted on using funds from her trust to cover the taxes and legal fees for the ownership transfer. My phone buzzed with a text from my father. This wasn't necessary. Family helps family. I didn't respond. His message revealed he still didn't understand, or refused to acknowledge, the fundamental unfairness. Minutes later, another text arrived. From my mother. Your father is struggling with this, but I want you to know I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. I should have done the same years ago. That evening, Megan called again. I've asked Dad to split the trust fund equally between us, she said. He refused at first, but Uncle Pete and Aunt Catherine backed me up. He's meeting with his financial advisor tomorrow to make the arrangements. I felt a weight lifting, not because of the money itself, but because of what it represented. Acknowledgement, fairness, respect. Thank you, Megan, I said sincerely. No, she replied. Thank you for finally making us face the truth. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a line with family over money? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.